Here we go, yo. Here we go, yo. So what's the scenario? Hey, yo, Braun knows this and Braun knows that, but Braun don't know Jack because Braun can't rap. So here we are, infidels, on the Friday locker room, ready to wrap up your week in the bloodbath that is the new future endeavorments. It's Hacker Hamin, it's Big Stevie Cool, it's Hamin Media Group. YOLO. Wow, wah, Stevie. There's plenty to unpack today. A lot of headlines and a lot of thank yous to hand out. A lot of people who really deserve, to say, you really made my life better and a dream come true. And I can't wait to see what the next chapter brings. And we're gonna write the next chapter here on the Friday Locker Room Ultra Declassified Kayfabe Thursday taping. Good morning to you. You look great in your new soft lighting, buddy.
Oh, thank you. I'm always trying to improve, and I want to thank everybody out there who's ever fired me or released me from a job. You actually, a couple of you, it did me a favor because it kicked me in the ass to do much more than just be under someone's thumb. So we'll probably unpack that and see, because I really do feel like this is a type of Stockholm syndrome that needs to be addressed, because it's the same exact things. And with some of these people talking about how good Vince was to him and receptive and this and that, you do understand, and we'll go into detail. You do understand that he's bullshitting you. He's disarming you. It's kind of like when he shakes your hand, the conversation is over, or I'll look into it, or we'll get into it. But like when he does that and it's not followed up with the action that you were hoping for, you were lied to. I don't know why there's that disconnect. Like, he's so good to me, but he just sat me at home and I didn't make money and they didn't book me right, or they made me into an idiot. I don't know.
Yeah, and it's not even with just those who are active roster. I saw the Mark Henry story where he talked about a next level yesterday, where on Busted Open Radio, he talks about, wanting a meeting with Vince to be a producer. And, he's got Mark Henry's a supreme worker. He's got two sons that he wants the NXT contracts for. And he's got, passion for the business, obviously. And Vince was even like, well, that's somebody I'll listen to, and brings him in the office, lets him do the whole spiel, tells him to write it up. And then it kind of dies on his desk after another closed door meeting, which, I'm sure Mark Henry wasn't privy to the information of, we're getting ready to sell and all that kind of shit. But, the way they treated him and Big Show on that last fucking Raw they were on, where he's on the scooter and Big Show gets punked out and now they're over there. I don't know. There could be a whole worker thing behind it of like, go over there and take as much money from him as you can, to like hurt him. But the reality is, to me, of, you're not, even if you're that over, you're still not in the fucking inside club to know what the fuck is going on, and write it up and then it dies on the desk. Boy, that sounded fair. That hit home. That was very familiar.
There's a lot of energy to do, especially for a wrestler. And then when you just don't even do anything, at least till, I think at the end, at least, he said, go ahead and go do what you got to do, which is strange in itself, because that's a complete 180 from a year ago or even 6 months ago of locking people into contracts just so AEW doesn't get them.
Yeah. I mean, that's how Adam Cole got to where he is now, pretty much. Like, there was a lot of guys who hit the wave of that early on when they were starting to use that fear to get themselves nice deals. And I can't hate on any worker who used that to their advantage, man. But it has been a crazy week. Twitter blowing up, all of our messaging systems blowing up, gender neutral messaging system, the cat messaging system. Everything's just been going crazy, because there was so many layoffs, not just this week, but I mean, last week with 35, and I hate to just give 35 office people, because they're not in front of camera, doesn't make them any nameless and faceless, like their lives aren't wrecked, or, where are we going next? And then, this week, some people who I could see why they might release them, based on inactivity, but then other ones, I hate to say a toe-to-so, but I fucking a toe-to-so. Steve, like, this is a lot of get back for what we've been talking about for, in my opinion, for a year of maybe longer of social media indiscretions, where it finally was time to fucking put the bullet in the back of somebody's head for whatever they did, man. And, with Braun, whether it's back to, even though it was a WWE thing, from the elves to dressing like the elf, to dressing like Wonder Woman, to dressing like Pussycat Dolls, doing Naughty Nurse with EC3 and fucking, then 2 days before his big triple threat main event, he's posting Big Bear pictures with Daisy Dukes on and shit like that, like sending a message that's not on brand with what they're trying to present you as. Going to Vince McMahon saying that he's got mental issues, going online saying that he's got body dysmorphia issues, and they put him in a fucking hopscotch segment with Green Slime versus Shane. Like, dude, like that was the rib, this was the fucking bullet, right? Like finally they're getting the, you want to fuck with the $1 million, $5 million investment we've made in you, the fucking B12 scandals, all that kind of shit. Because this one, and regardless of him calling us dorks or going back and forth online, it's not any sour grapes for me. But what's the craziest part of this in the move, as we saw this week in the commercial, is Houston, Jacksonville, Louisville, wherever, Atlanta, we're coming to your town. WWE,
don't come here. I don't want you here.
WWE back on the road. Dude, Braun Strowman is a fucking draw to bring families and kids back to have the experience of seeing a human being that massive. They forego that and put a bullet in the back of them before they go on the road. That's one of the craziest business moves of the week, in my opinion.
Probably going to look a little more financially at this. And obviously, if they were paying him just the base 75 a year, they might keep him around just to play with them, because it's a lot less of an investment financially. But in my own, and you're traveling to indie shows, so you obviously know the gas prices, tolls and stuff, but there's a whole deeper thing with this that I'm looking at, as far as cutting 30 to 35 office employees, as far as even cutting these wrestlers. I think WWE is going to go back to the old school skeleton crew for TV. You might see like a Selena Vega type thing out there 3-4 times on a Raw, because what the cost of doing business on the road is so much exponentially more than it was a year ago or 2 years ago. My instance, I'm doing a signing in July in Ohio. I looked at flights. They cut the flights down, and also the flights are much more expensive, even for just, I got a nonstop, thank God, but even just for stops, it's more expensive. Now the rental cars, this is something I really dug into, and I watched a few Dave Ramsey videos. When the pandemic hit, Hertz and all these rental car companies sold off their fleet because they couldn't afford the overhead with everything being shut down.
Mm-hmm.
Well, fast forward, and now there's a chip shortage, and now new cars can't be finished, and the used car market's obviously going up. Hertz and all these rental car companies they can't replenish the inventory on new rental cars. So the price of rentals is going up. Now, talk about gas for a bunch of tractor trailers. Talk about the cost of renting arenas or electricity or anything else. Just sheer logistics to get that amount of people from arena to arena is going to be more. So they might fire a bunch of production people. They might hire scabs. They might do a bunch of cost-cutting measures to get that out. And I'm looking at the whole. Now, that's a viewpoint from a strict corporate perspective. And of course, if you're looking to sell and you got a guy making 1.3 million or whatever per year, you take him off the books with 7 other people, 35 office employees, 15 product. You basically pad your books to lower your expenses and your liabilities and boost your income.
Mm-hmm.
It could be something as simple as that. And of course they put in their little games they play. It's an extra, cocaine high for Vince and Bruce and everybody to fuck with somebody.
Sure.
But look at it that way too. Going on the road is exciting, but really when you think about it, they've been doing nothing but, just raking in money to be in the same building and renting it out once for 6 months.
Right.
Totally different story now.
And I had heard from some of the HMGs loyal that they were looking at tickets for Money in the Bank. Nosebleed seats were at $150. Like, a ticket that should be $30 max. So Hamin's Tarp Emporium's coming back too. So whatever this lower level, we're back on the road, bread and circuses, we'll give it back to you. It's not going to be packed arenas, not at that price, dude. And especially with the inflated costs that you just described, which are absolutely true. Fuel, rental, yada, yada. And Braun supposedly had signed a contract for $1 million. You can put all that in play of cost-cutting measures, but it's that cocaine high got them at the fucking end of the day. Is that that's what they're really chasing all the time. And I think, the other speculation that I've heard, and it hasn't been confirmed yet, and I hope it's not, but is Keith Lee and Mia Yim maybe too, as well as Bray Wyatt, who has been supposedly having mental issues as well, which I can't doubt if they've sunk 3 pieces that could have been all fucking huge money makers and they couldn't do any of it right. But they're off the road, or have been, and relegated back to NXT. And then things like the faithful trying to get a Mia Yim to SmackDown trend going. That's only gonna fucking make it that much sweeter when they drive the knife in, because they know that's the fans gassing her up with a hope spot, because she couldn't stay off social media to try and do some cryptic defense of Keith Lee, who also doesn't help his fucking case on social media, when that guy is another money draw that when a little kid sees him on a live show, that's your larger than life persona. But if he's gone possibly too, dude, they don't even give a shit about the live crowd and making that an experience for people.
The type of person I am, and what I'm thinking about doing, I probably shouldn't even do, because it always falls on deaf ears, or the perspective on what my career was like. I want to reach out to people like Braun, people like Keith Lee, who I've had interactions with. Keith Lee is a very nice guy, and tell them what it's like sort of on the other side, and sort of what they need to do, and also offer some help with things like technology and other things that I do pretty well, just like you would probably do if the conversation really came down to you and Braun. Hash it out. He's mad. Okay, dude, let's talk about how we can help you now. I don't think, especially this crop of this generation of wrestlers, are so emotionally attached to the job that they will sit there. And we know people very well that are on TV now that got released from the other place, and they could have had like passive income coming from what they've been studying for years. Instead, they went back to the wrestling bubble, and they're counting on Tony Khan to hopefully please be in business another 4 to 5 years instead of building something. And I'm going to tell you right now what I did, because if they're not going to be inspired to do it, when I heard about this, I went, and it sounds so silly, I switched internet providers. I'm saving $15 a month. We switched cell phone plans. We're saving $20 a month. We already have a call, my cousin and I, with investing like every 30 to 45 days, or looking at markets or how to beat inflation. We're going to have another call. It inspires me to keep up with this, to try to never be, and I'm by no means rich, but I'm still trying to do something so where I never have to be in that spot to ever count on anybody else. And also at the same time, reaching out to 50 different companies to try to see if I can expand my affiliate, income model. It's these things, and these people were not allowed to do this in WWE. They should feel a great sense of determination and motivation right now to use their millions of social media followers. Now they can leverage it, start making calls to companies, to Braun, start going into the strongman type field to try to see how you can monetize that. Do different things, but they're all going to wait the 90 days and show up at All Out. That's what they're going to do.
Yep.
Am I wrong?
Oh, you're 100% right. As much as they want to be on Twitter and social media for vanity, now when they have the chance to do that as an influencer and get the deals done, well, they're not over with WWE, so it's not like they have their superstar status, and that's the work that they have to put in, and they just wait. And now people will remain nameless right now, but what you laid out there, they're just starting to get it now. And it's a year and a half later that they're behind the fucking, 8 ball. Now they're gonna have to compete with everybody that's coming off of here, and I don't see those people as having the want to do that. They just think that they're over and that they're owed in that respect, and would rather tweet about their fucking $80,000 car they just bought, or $200,000
that Land Rover, right?
yeah, right.
She might be released next. So Mandy Rose buying that Land
I
Rover.
wasn't even seeing that. Braun posted something about some car that he got the other day too, bro. It's just like,
here's another thing too, and this is I forgot what I was going to say. CT, that'll catch up with them as well. Okay, here I saw somebody. I got tagged in a post yesterday for AJ Styles' birthday, and I saw the comments just because I was tagged on Instagram, and I saw it, and there was at least 3 to 4 people that said, "My God, I didn't even know Stevie Richards was still alive, and I didn't know. I have no idea what he's been up to. I haven't heard or seen anything from him in years." Now, maybe me 10, 15 years ago would be hurt by that or angered by that, but now the way I'm looking at it, I'm saying, okay, well, my demographic with Stevie Richards Fitness or my YouTube videos or anything that I'm doing that's I thought was doing pretty successfully.
right. People are still oblivious.
But there's a ton of people that have no clue as to what I'm doing. So my business mind, which used to be an emotionally charged mind, switched to looking at it and saying, not dork, or replying like, oh, why don't you fight? Like any of that bullshit, but looking of like, okay, these are 3 or 4 potential customers that have no idea what the hell I'm doing. How can I reach these 3 or 4 and another 3 billion and see how I can monetize that?
And that's you and I and Vince have been in business together for 3.5 years now, which, man, that's gone by so quickly. It's awesome. But that's the major difference in conversions. And I got from one of our clients today where their Patreon kind of is dropping off. I was like, we may be in this small pond of Russo brand and Hamin Media Group loyalists. How do we start getting the marketing out there and word to others and creating awareness? Like, it's not this is all going away. It's like, all right, I need a solution for this, a creative one. And how am I going to analyze this? Because we have great products. It's just getting them out there to make awareness out of it. How do we, that's our number one boundary right now that we need to cross, get through that. So,
and there's a multi-billion-dollar company that has had 2 of the lowest rated shows in their company history in the past 2 weeks. And they're not asking each other these questions or having meetings about this. They're like, fuck them. They're stupid. The fans are stupid. Okay, that's fine.
1.42 for Raw, Stevie. Does that hurt? Like, even though you're not a company guy, like, does that sadden you of being in this business for as long as you have and seeing the peaks of every company? You were at ECW at the highest and left there at the high point.
I doubted ECW was drawing 1.42 at some point.
I wouldn't doubt that either. I'm thinking to myself, with $100 million budget that Khan's got, he's drawn 525,000, where he's more worried about cutting a promo on Nick Khan than he is billing his own show or his own pay-per-view. I'm thinking to myself, if you gave 2CW $10 million, we'd be blowing these guys out of the fucking water. We'd be blowing these guys everywhere. No, we'd be blowing these guys out of the water.
Braun's up to that now.
Well, I was thinking that too. If Braun does want to come out of the closet, there's no better time than now to shock the world and pick up that fucking rainbow flag and be the most masculine, whatever you want to call yourself, define yourself as, because it's the major marketing point right now. You know what I mean? So like that definitely could be a thing, but will he have the balls to pull that? I don't think so.
Well, we don't know if he is. I mean, it's just,
I just say my gaydar goes off when I see some things.
Well, I mean, whatever. I mean, he'll be a bigger draw than he ever was. You're right.
That money is guaranteed. It's the one of the most sought after demographics, an educated, single adult one that has a fucking cause to get behind. Dude, that's money all day. Maybe we should.
Here's the thing. What are we looking at here, Bill? Yeah, as a worker, here's the way I kind of like look at that kind of stuff. It sucks working in front of no people. Like, they're working in front of no people, obviously,
sure,
with the Thunderdome, but it sucks working in front of no people when your pay is dependent upon the house. So your pay is also dependent upon the ratings. There's a few different ways to look at that too. They don't do quarter-hour ratings or minute by minute, so there's no way to even know if Braun drew or not. They might have made a huge mistake letting Braun go, like you said, for the child demographic, but also he might have been drawing the highest ratings just because at least he had energy and he's in there with Lashley and Drew, and it's the super heavyweight division we talked about on Russo for years.
I think there's a definite thing with, fathers who are going to buy tickets or mothers who are going to buy tickets who go with their little kids age 6 to 12, what have you, who say, oh, WWE's coming to town, but they fired Braun and Keith Lee. I really wanted to see those two because of, larger than life. And I'm not talking about people who are dirt sheet insiders and all that shit. Though that's a ticket loss right there, 4 ticket loss of a family, because if I they don't have these guys and I just don't want to go to see 2 of the guys that I wanted to see. I wanted to see all of them. And that's the weirdest thing to me. That's why this makes it feel like, okay, you wanted to fuck around for 2 years on social media, make us look bad. And Keith Lee and Chelsea Green, it's not even they make them look bad. It's going into business for yourself is what they look at it as, instead of staying small. And when we say you can get over, when we say you can post bikini pics, when we say you can fucking do this, that, or the other, and if you step out of line, they're coming to get you. And I wouldn't doubt if Alexa's on the chopping block for the Larry the Pig fucking thing, because we've talked about this. It's even as bad as their creative is, you can't go into business for yourself on social media, spit in the face of them, and not expect them to be like, okay, your time's coming. We're going to give you the fucking Pesci ice pick in the back of the neck.
They're in a spot now where, like I was saying, with the quarter hours and no ratings really, because they don't advertise, and they're trying to go to a streaming service and they're trying to sell the company. They're trying to avoid every flaw that the company could be exposed for. This with the talent, they really believe like, okay, we can just call up the 8 or 10 NXT people, get them there for a year, fill in the TV time, and then let them go, and have 10 more that are training that year, and just have the factory model of a bunch of people making 52 or 75 at the most, work them to death after a year or 2, and spit them out by the time they're 25. That's why they don't want guys like us there. That's why they don't want somebody like Russo there, because we're too smart. They can't effectively put out their mission statement when somebody's smartened up to their stuff. That's why a lot of the older guys are gone. That's why a lot of your agents are guys that never worked there. Think about that. It's it's not by accident that they do all that. The coaches are people that never worked on TV. You got Matt Bloom and all those guys, but that's cliquish and survival mode too. The system, just like the country, just like society, it's a systematic problem. There's a systematic problem. The Faucis and the Vinces and the Tony Khans and the Bidens or the Trumps, they're followed up, and they're there. And there's 100 other more evil bastards and more calculating bastards that you'll never know the names of, because they're too smart and they don't have an ego. That's what we're looking at here. Nick Khan, the only reason you know who Nick Khan is because WWE puts it in the press. I think Nick Khan would rather, I don't want anybody knowing my name.
Yeah,
do my deals.
Yeah, and they just put Nick Khan on the board of directors, which to me is the biggest tell, not that there isn't a bunch of them, that they are going to be selling and most likely to NBC, because Fox will be looking to get out of their thing and they'll be able to pick that part up cheap as well, as ratings declined over there. And Nick Khan being on the board when they have to sell, that's the vote they need. They're stacking the votes in the boardroom of directors to get the deal done as easy as possible, making sure they got everything going now that they're a publicly traded company, even if it's just for visual for the SEC and for the stockholders. But everything is being aligned and streamlined. Big money contracts, excess production people, whether it was 2 graphic design teams consolidated into one, the movie side, mass layoffs there, trimming the fat of all these people they hired. And what's strange to me is these classes at NXT that they've hired. What we have, like 12, 18, and another 14 of people who will never debut on TV, most of them. Out of those 12, 18, and 14, you might get 3 people who will ever get a chance to be on NXT TV, or they were zombies in the fucking attack against Miz. Like, that's going to be the high water point for them when they sell. So if they're cutting top guys, dude, is it possible that all of NXT just gets fucking, we're just done with NXT and everybody's released? Because how are you going to clip a Braun, maybe, and I hope he's not, Keith Lee, and then think you're going to replace them with an Adam Cole in a fucking Undisputed Era? And like, what are people's reaction to that is going to be like? Are you joking? Like, we're headed for under $1 million, like right away, bro. And how does a guy who has $100 million budget on the other side get 525,000 viewers, bro? Like, it's crazy to me. With 10 million, 2CW would be on top right now with a $10 million investment.
There's people in the chat, obviously, that are going to say the words that are, I don't believe that can be said in pro wrestling, because when you say somebody doesn't draw, that's there. I mean, that hits me, just because that's what top guys would always say about guys that are coming up and threat. Yeah, you can draw with anyone. ECW drew with it. All you have to do is accentuate the strengths, hide the flaws, hide the weaknesses. They do not book or produce their talent to do, like, for instance, Cesaro. Never let Cesaro talk, because he can't cut a promo. You tell him that, you give him Paul Heyman or a manager, and you have Cesaro do what he does best. However, what they do is they expose at least 50% of their flaws live on TV. And if someone can't perform live, you pre-tape them. If they can't perform in pre-tapes, you cut that out of their repertoire.
You've got
anybody.
You got Robbie E. You've got Drake Maverick. Like, these are two guys.
Whenever I could, yeah. Whenever I was on, if I had debuted in WWE at my time, say, of experience in ECW, every one of my flaws would be exposed. Paulie presented me in a way that, with pre-tapes and some live stuff, he'd throw me out there and test me, see if I could say, you have to test the talent to see if they can succeed or fail under the pressure, but also you don't set them up to fail. There's a difference. And also what Paul did, we have 30, 40, 50-minute matches that he cut into an 8-minute highlight thing. He knew what to do. And he's there. So it's got to be killing him on a creative level to see how they throw Cesaro out there, or even Keith Lee with his promos. And if that can't be fixed, you get William Shatner there. You make him a Star Trek fan. You get the Star Trek audience in there. There's not, you have to pivot with the talent. So when you say they never drew a dime, then you should fire the writers and the people that produced them. You don't fire the talent because creative has nothing for you, because you're sitting at home, because these other things are going on outside of discipline issues or DUIs, or if you're just being a nightmare. If you're there, like Russo says, if you're there, you should be presented as a pro, not this is my dream and I'm a mark and this. And when that stuff is allowed to happen, it's a black eye on creative. And unfortunately, I've never heard of writers getting fired in the past year. I've heard about writers quitting. I've never heard about Bruce on the chopping block. I never heard about no vote of confidence. I never heard about Matt Bloom, Sarah Del Rey, or any of the coaches. Matt and Sarah are the head coaches, so they should fall first because it's their system they're cultivating. So if somebody gets called up to WWE and they suck, you should blame Shawn Michaels. You should blame Matt Bloom. You should blame Sarah Del Rey. Or you get rid of all the coaches and you get a brand new crop of coaches that are everything those coaches aren't. And I don't want to see anybody lose their job, but do you understand? This is...
Well, dude, the numbers reflect it. 1.42 shows you that, though. And how long have they been coaches? 6-10 years now we're going into, since FCW started, pretty much. And that's just comfortable and being over and using your power, as opposed to knowing how to get people over, knowing how to just because you came up with Damian Priest's and fucking Rhea Ripley's entrances. That don't mean that they're ready to run with the ball when it's time to put the spotlight on them for real. And we've seen that be exposed over and over and over again, man. So I agree with you fully. It's got nothing to do with that talent. The talent is a blank canvas with, glimpses of brilliance in it, and it's up to us to write for them and write around them that's going to enhance that and bring them out. Spike Dudley it was one of the best parts of ECW, from underneath, and it's not like he was the body guy that everybody came to draw, but that was always one of the most highly entertaining points in the show, so there anybody can be over and be a draw, and anything can be a finish. That's the other part. You just got to sell it. All this overbooked shit. If one guy does a headbutt and somebody lays down, his headbutt's way more serious. The fucking Tongan headbutt from Tamina should be a finisher, not just a splash. So like anything can get over if we make the believable story around it and we have our scene partners and selling it for us the right way, man. You ready to get into these headlines, man?
I guess.
Holy shit. Why WWE and New Japan agreement is better off dead in the water. Buried away in this past week's Wrestling Observer was a tidbit that WWE is supposedly in talks with New Japan to become their sole American partner, or words to that effect. Of course, the internet had a field day with that. Some posited dream cards for a joint WWE New Japan show, much like we had back in the day with WCW. Man,
hold on a second. Frank's Pickle Barrel asks, listen, just because you get very passive aggressive whenever I'm not calling you out. I wasn't, now I am, because you're talking, you're getting defensive because I'm telling you how it should be and how it was throughout 3 to 4 companies that I worked for on TV. That's all it is. If they clear out the deck and they get rid of talent that aren't up to snuff, that's one thing. But when they set them up to fail every single time, you have to look at the system. You have to look at creative. So he's getting very defensive, saying he'll just stick to talking about metal and welding and all this. Nobody's calling you out or trying to dress you down, but it's an argument you can't win.
Yeah. And
you can't say someone doesn't draw. That's like, he just didn't have it. Well, explain why. I just didn't have it. I mean, I've heard all these excuses from people that are running companies. It shouldn't be an excuse that's allowed to get by. I respect your opinion, Frank, and that's what I'm saying. That's why I don't ever, you know me, Ben. I don't ever reference the chat room. I see things in here, but at the same time, this is something that I was in position throughout my life and my career, and I'm still in positions in my life post wrestling and trying to figure out how to run these businesses that I'm pretty much not trained at through a college level. And my wife or other people tell me you're completely doing this wrong and you don't have a clue. And I need to hear that. These places need to hear it instead of hearing it and then taking it and improving it. Like I said earlier about the comments that nobody had any idea what I was doing for the past 15 years. But at the same time, these companies let go of anybody with dissenting opinions that can improve the product. Now, Keith Lee and other people or anybody, if you should be TV ready, live TV ready. And if you're not, we have to see how we can at least make our money back with you. But if you're doing social media wrong, here's how Paul did in the ECW. Axel Rotten had heat with him. Okay, he could have just let Axel go and said, I don't even want to look at this guy in my locker room. But he said, Axel is a great baby face. Axel can cut a promo. He can work. And I can use him to get everyone else over. I'll never do anything with Axel, but I'm still going to squeeze everything I can out of him as a talent to get guys like Stevie Richards over, to get guys like the Pitbulls over, to get other guys over. That's the hell of creative. And if you hate a guy, that's one thing. Or if you think he's just sucks, but he's there. So how can I use this guy or girl to make money? And that's what they do. That's not what they do at all. How can I fuck with this person to get off and, well, maybe we'll make money somewhere down the line.
And then the other part with the heat on the coaches is letting guys like him do dives and shit like that. Big E doing a fucking dive and Keith Lee where somebody could be killed with an inch left or right the wrong way. And how is that being allowed by their coaches to do that, to let them get their shit in and get it over?
I spent a week there. I got to spend a week there. And by the end of the week, because I was trying to help people and encourage them, and I didn't want to fuck with anybody, I was the pariah by the end of the week. Matt Bloom never even came out to say goodbye to me. He went into a meeting and just had say, I'll be right back. 30 or 40 minutes later, I was like, I'm not waiting around. And I just left. I got in trouble and got heat for helping Otis and this other guy learn how to work the first match. And I didn't call every single spot to them in the ring. I got heat for that. So you're wondering, I saw firsthand what the system, and they're protecting their little clique, which Serena could speak on more than me. If you're a coach that really wants to improve the product, you have no place. And that's exactly what's wrong. So let's not even talk about the TV or anything. Let's talk about how you're fostering talent to go up there.
Matt Bloom's probably tight with Bret Hart. That's why he put the heat on you.
Yeah. Matt got back at me and didn't shake my hand. He was like, he knew about the Bret deal. Came over the top.
That was some not even real news, I guess. Is any of this real news about a fake sport? With New Japan, that was an opinion piece, so forget about that. There's no is the deal done or what have you. I think that all that ever was Daniel Bryan wanting to get dates in New Japan while staying under a WWE contract. That came out that fucking New Japan was talking to Nick Khan about something, or it may not even been him. And then Tony Khan sells for it like a complete fool while his fucking show does the lowest number in its history. So everyone just looks like a total jackass, man, and worrying about things that aren't going to help their draw or help their business or help their buy rate and are self-serving and push your arms up or whatever the fuck, man.
I think we should have a suicide watch for Meltzer and Jargo on this, because I think they're not. I can't wait till Okada finally becomes the emperor.
Right. Well, he's gonna have to fight Shinsuke for the crown. Adam Cole. Here's another
truck match.
Yeah, here's another like little social media infraction while people are getting fired where they're oblivious. Adam Cole shares a video with Britt Baker in the AEW women's title. Adam Cole's very pleased to see his partner, Britt Baker, with AEW.
He used the proper pronoun. I can't believe it. Partner.
Yeah. Yep, they did. And shared a brief video of them with the championship. Cole posted to his Instagram per wrestling of himself and Baker, the latter of whom has the title over his shoulder, her shoulder. As in the nature of Instagram stories, the video is gone. You can see a mirror of it below, courtesy of a fan account that captured it to stooge him off. Baker won the championship from Shida at Double or Nothing. Meanwhile, Cole made his return to NXT, got himself in a championship match at TakeOver. Look, dude, like him standing across from Cross. Cole cuts a good promo, but it's just fucking wow. Here's where we are in wrestling. And you can go to 401 Mania and see it if you want to, but it's these types of things of how oblivious are you that Chelsea Green, your homegirl, gone probably because of this type of stuff. The Iconics, have your mom tweet that you deserve a fucking title match and embarrass everybody. You're gone. Fucking, whether it's Keith Lee and Mia Yim posing like a newly engaged couple, or her squatting down in front of a fucking car wanting to do hip hop fucking poses like she's on, Double XL magazine. You're on the fucking shelf. Braun wants to go out there and do fucking Big Bear shots and Daisy Dukes. You're fucking gone. Like, why, even while it's going on around them, they still don't know that this is not the move to make. And even, hey, it's just an IG story. It'll be gone in 24 hours. No, like people are instantly screenshotting this shit. And, and maybe he wants Gone to go over with the Bucks or whoever too, but I don't put that past him, because they're such huge Shawn Michaels marks that they would never leave Shawn's nest. They just want to politic and be right near him all the time, thinking that's going to get him over.
Interesting thing the Road Dogg said here. I'm looking, because I was looking at, I wanted to see the face off to see the size difference. And Road Dogg on Adam Cole, if he was carrying Cross's size, he would be Universal Champion right now.
Agree.
Well, how about just making Karrion Kross the Universal Champion? Karrion Kross is that size. That's like him saying, like, if we can get somebody to just Like if Shawn Michaels is wrestling on WWE TV and he's on TV every week and you see another guy that looks nothing like him and you say, man, if this guy just looked like Shawn Michaels and worked like him, we can make him world champion. Well, Shawn Michaels is on your list. That makes no sense, right? Am I reading that wrong?
No, it's not in that, but they're so in the bubble delusional and they were trying to shoot on each other.
That means the Call is our favorite.
Yeah.
If we could make Call Universal Champion, we would.
Oh, no, like they were not talking shop, and I don't think this is part of the promo because they wouldn't let them bang like this. They did. They told them to go do it. But you can see with Cole, Fish, all the Undisputed Era guys, these guys who were ROH Young Bucks spinoff friends. That's what they are. The whole clique, the whole Cool Kids crew, right? Mm-hmm. They leveraged that to get into NXT. So Khan wouldn't, grab them up either. And good on them. They work the fucking system to get paid, and then they think they're over. Then they get in with Sean and HBK and start politicking where people are like, dude, you're the next Sean. You look like him, you act like him, even though you're a little smaller than Sean, who's tiny already. And fucking then you got Killer Cross. So in that promo, dude, Cole is telling Cross that he's overrated. Meanwhile, he looks like a fucking star. And the only thing that Cross needs is a little more time and to be working with people who are way better than him, like a Randy Orton or something. He's phenomenal on the promo. He's phenomenal on the vision. He looks like a fucking superstar. Absolutely. So what does Cole have? All he can do is say that he's overrated, which is their car conversations because he hasn't put in the road miles that those guys have yet. That's fine. That'll come. But one thing that Cross has that Cole's never going to grow into his body and become a big dude. Like, you're not going to watch a 13-year-old become a fucking 25-year-old man. What you see is what you get there. And Cole knows that. So Cross comes back at him and goes, and you can politic all you want from now until fucking the match. And dude, I was like, there it is. There it is. The small guys who can never have size and never have the draw power just on visually alone have to try and cut him down, saying he's overrated. And that word gets to Sean and Game. Well, maybe so any botch that he does or miss spot, well, he's overrated, dude. He can't fucking work. He sucks compared to us. The reality is he's a ticket seller and they know it. And they're up Sean and Game's ass to protect their spot. And Cross calls it back out because Cross don't need to play politics. Cross has got a fucking group around him of everybody from Disco Inferno, Conan, every other legend that looks at him and sees money and is giving him great advice. Nobody's going to Adam Cole with that. Only the fact that I'm Sean Jr. and the Wayfair version, and this is what I'm politicked in, which could keep him on the roster longer. I'm not saying it couldn't. But in that promo, the reality of how they're trying to subvert Cross's push and how he's talking the reality of what they're doing behind the scenes to try and stay in the main event was in that promo. So it's got to be a sketchy situation back there right now, dude, especially in that upper echelon. Because if you bring up Cole in the Undisputed Era, dude, if Nexus couldn't get over with
the same colors and basically the same logo, right?
With guys who are all super heavyweights and look like stars, what are you going to do when the food court from the mall shows up to kick your ass? The Auntie Anne's pretzel guy, the Sbarro's pizza fucking guy, and the dude who runs the Orange Julius. We're here to fuck shit up. Like, dude, his arms were as big as my forearm, bro. His biceps.
I was going to say about Adam, he's not in bad shape, but he's gotten lean to the point where, it's a weird thing because he's not on the road. I don't know if he has an injury. To me, I would say, like, looking at the muscle loss at his age, does he have a neck or spinal injury where he has some atrophy? I look at these things like that from a an injury standpoint. But then again, I'm like, man, he has to know. And he pretty much lives in Florida. He works in Florida. Now they're especially not going on the road for the past year. This would be the time to try to put on some size, especially when you see Killer Cross coming and they're going to cross paths with him.
Yeah.
I know that whenever I'm going to work somebody, like, either I have to get as lean as I can to look shredded, or I got to put on some size because no matter what happens, I'm going to be smaller. So I don't want to look incredibly unhealthy next to this person. I was going to say too, that the problem with the system, getting back to that, when you see a Killer Cross and you know that in a way he stands out. Keith Lee had to go to WWE because he just stood out so much more on NXT. He made everybody look like a midget. He was a big dude. Cross needs to learn. He's not going to learn by working smaller guys to get to the main roster. He has to go and face off with Orton. He has to work Bobby Lashley. He has to work Drew. Not anytime soon. He'd have to work a Riddle, somebody that's kind of like a shooter that he can get that style out of him and can take a real beating. So he doesn't have to worry about being careful. But do you see what I mean? It's almost like he's playing high school football in a Pee-wee league.
It's funny you say that because the way I judge him, I looked at it and I go, dude, there's kids in my high school who are farm boys right now who are 17 who would thump Adam Cole in a fucking shoot, leave him laying. Like, and if that's the criteria of a fucking, I think those high schoolers from my hometown can whoop your fucking ass. You should not be on top standing across from Killer Cross, dude, in my opinion. I don't care how many fucking things you do off the cage or this, that, or the other fall season shit. There's just some things that'll never be believable, and that's it. But the politics and having the head gassed up, and isn't that what Sean did too? Kind of the same thing of this guy's overrated to get in Vince's ear and I'm the fucking guy. It's the same shit, bro. But now you're dealing with a Wayfair version who doesn't have the biceps that Sean did, who doesn't have even I don't say the size that Sean did. Like, it just looks like everybody's playing Attitude Era, and some people belonged in the Attitude Era and the other ones are just, it's like a kid's birthday party where you get to fucking interact with your top stars, dude.
But the politics will win out.
I know.
Killer Cross can work as hard as he can and look as all he's going to be doing if he's not politically aligned with what they want and not play. And I don't assume this guy plays their games. He's smart to them, but he doesn't play them. He seems like he just wants to.
Well, he's got a whole group around him of top guys who've been through WCW.
What I'm saying is he doesn't want to be bothered with it. He doesn't. No. I don't feel like he needs to be bothered with it, but that's the way wrestling works. It sucks. If you say, I just want to show up, I want to try to make money for the company, make money for myself, and, not get hurt, they're going to be like, well, what's wrong with you? You don't love this business? Like, what the fuck are you talking about?
Well, they're trying to bait him into coming to play politics, too, because, Sean, born again or whatever, that's really what drives him is that fucking, how can I get a small guy over on the fucking big guys, and how did I do it? And I'm sure he's coaching Cole in how to fucking bury Cross. I'm sure there's all this weird shit going on instead of Sean just being like, let's make the best match for these guys and get them both over. There's like, when I saw that promo, that's Cross not wanting to play politics, them coming up with the byline, because he doesn't want to fucking engage fully with us, he's overrated, he can't hang with us, when the fans aren't going to give a fuck about that, Not when the bell rings.
This is a good segue for your Christian speech. Famous catering conversation. Are you a Christian? Yeah, but I still got to get mine.
Yeah, I got to get mine, dude. I mean, such phony shit, all that. Miro reacts to Lana's release. I'm shocked that Team Glowcrotch has been split up, Stevie. Earlier today, WWE released an announcement of 6 wrestlers, and one was Lana. Current AEW TNT champion Miro took to Twitter to react to his wife's release. He says, "You can't soar with the eagles if you're hanging with the turkeys." Miro's no stranger to receiving this sort of treatment from WWE. The AEW star was released from WWE a little over a year ago as part of the roster cuts reportedly on the pandemic, COVID-19, yada, yada, yada. No, they both cut their own throats by hurting their own business of not being what they were supposed to be, the Bulgarian Brute and the hot blonde from Rocky IV. They thought it was more fun to do Lana is the best, Lana number 1, Rusev Day, and mowing the lawn in your underwear, doing TikTok dances together when you're supposed to be a killer. And that's why they let him go, and then ribbed his wife by putting her in a threesome with Bobby Lashley, who also needed to be punished for 6 to 8 months to show him you never leave us for Impact and get yourself over. blackface, put her through the table 9 weeks in a row. Like it's not flying with it. It's all self-induced. It's all their own ignorant. Is there money on Rusev and Lana? Absolutely. And sex appeal and couples and Cold War and muscle B12 strength and fucking showing your crotch when you dance, whatever it is. But if you're going to do that on Instagram's free time for your own vanity, they're going to get back at you. And even though like now she's training to be a wrestler and she gets what, a dozen matches, you know, maybe tag matches that are rotten at best. And now she's going to do what? Go to AEW to be at Rusev's side. He's already the mauler, and they finally got him over as a killer right now instead of the video game dude who wears women's pajamas. They fucking brought him in as another completely tone deaf, ignorant fucking kickoff of how to build a guy from the ground up who has tons of value. Let's kill him right away and put him with the best friends. Like, just absolute ignorance. And it wasn't until fucking Jim Cornette cuts the promo on him after his lack of potential when he comes to try and stand up for Penelope Ford or whatever that he finally starts to get it, bro. So this whole thing is laughable. And will she come in and be with him? And if so, what does that say to the rest of AEW that was supposed to be building a company around young talent, and we're never going to just hire ex-WWE guys and da-da-da. Meanwhile, we got Big Show, Christian, Matt Hardy, Mark Henry, now Lana. I bet Murphy's coming in, probably Aleister Black. Like, do not say we will never, because, you know, this is WCW and TNA 2.0. We've learned nothing from the past. We've learned zero.
There's a famous, by the way, you're asking if I was smaller than Adam Cole. I'm not. I'm 6. I was 6. That's why I put 6'2", 220 was too small.
Smaller. Stevie stands eye to eye with me, bro.
Yeah, he's not even 6 feet, I think.
No, he's just 5'7", dude, tops. 5'8", maybe.
I know when I worked him, he wore lifts in his boots. I told him, be careful kicking me with those, because they're pretty heavy.
I mean, you've been near him closer than I have with Sean, and I know he's smaller than Sean, and Sean was barely to my shoulders, bro.
And Sean's 6'1". Yeah.
No way is Shawn Michaels 6'1".
Well, with his boots on, because I was around him.
Okay. So, and I'm 6'5".
Well, Russo's definitely over 6'5".
Yeah.
The whole thing, there was a video that I think they put up in your group this week after the releases, with Jericho saying, hey, we're not just going to take anybody here. We're not going to take ex-WWE guys. And then there was some montage of the all elite things coming up around them. And that's what it is. Like, hey, everybody's got to get paid. I don't want anybody to be out of a job or anything like that. And it is to an extent going to be a shot in the arm for AEW, because how many people are debuting in WWE, or how many people are coming back, or like, you got to see it, because every week somebody new's coming back or something new. Dude, it's been, when's the last time that's happened?
How about Big E? I mean, that the finish of the pay-per-view was Aleister Black walking out of the light, you know, Luciferian, to interrupt their match, and that was going to be the spin out. Now Aleister Black's gone. Big E with his dick in his hand in the wind again. They're going back on the road. I'm telling you right now, you can clock it. I wouldn't doubt if it's tomorrow, but it could be a week from now. New Day's back together
for the road. That would be a smart business decision to sell merch.
Yes.
Well, what's he going to do? I would politic for that if I was him, because what did you just do to me?
Kofi just lost to fucking Drew. Xavier is on his own, looking like he was in a marching band that took a left turn in a parade, and he kept going straight, just walking around with goofy gear and a goddamn trombone by himself. And then Big E's fucking whole next push as a singles is gone. The Nigerian drum match was the one-off. This was supposed to be a spin out with Aleister Black, and that's done. You're going on the road. What else option is there? You can't keep them separate, especially when you want somebody to hype the little kids. Braun's gone, and now you got these guys separate. They're going to be back together by 10 days from now.
I'm going to give you the feud. I'm going to go right over the top, and your prediction with another one. New Day versus Undisputed Era on WWE TV for next year.
Bro.
Well, three guys. Who else? What are 3-man statement you see?
You're right. No, you're right.
They got to fill in. They got to fill in the time. The talent's gone. Get some cheap ones up here. We got to get these NXT guys.
Because who else are they going to put together? There's no other crew. They split up Hurt Biz, unless they do a new Hurt Biz like you were talking about with Street Profits, maybe. But I mean, there's nothing there.
You're gonna bring New Day, or probably job out. Shelton and Cedric will get back together. They're gonna do jobs to New Day for a month. That's usually during Black History Month. They do those matches to try to really just to emphasize their out of touchness or their lack of self-awareness. But yeah, I would look at that and just see that. And then you might have Nakamura and the guitar guy versus the Undisputed Era before. Dude, this is going to be such a makeshift brand. And by the way, there's still a split. They won't even bring the rosters together at all.
Think about what they might have had planned for Big E. Think about what they might have had planned for any of these dudes. I don't
think they had anything planned.
Nothing. No.
Because if they had a long-term plan, they would at least kept Aleister Black there for a month to put Big E over.
But is that the fuck over? Because his wife was just back at NXT. So are they going to did they hire her back, and that hasn't been announced, and fire him just to F with their heads, bro? Or is that
to keep them apart to some degree?
Yes. I mean, how many times have we seen this with Lana Rusev? Who else that they split up on the road? Your wife's on one fucking thing. Seth, Becky, Andrade, fucking Charlotte.
Yeah, the evidence is there. So, hey, could Charlotte be released?
I don't think so. I think their women's division depends too much on her. But if you're doing videos or giving fake blowjobs in the Dominican Republic, that might not be the way.
Well, I just mean they might have got everything they needed out of her, and it's already a sucky division. We're thinking in terms of TV rights and how much money she may make. She might be the highest paid girl in the roster.
They wouldn't, because of their own paranoia of Charlotte versus Britt Baker on somebody else's show, or Charlotte versus Serena drawing.
I still don't think. Here's what I'm saying. Now, you as a wrestling fan that likes to watch wrestling, sort of. But what I'm saying is, like, Charlotte versus anybody on another company is not going to draw casual viewers. You're not going to just follow. There's not enough people that are going to. Once again, Tony Khan could give her $1 million a year. That's another $1 million out of his bank account. Maybe Vince is trying to bankrupt him and also sell at the same time and do everything to just pocket this money. Because
skeleton crew with no fucking business or matches long term, just Undisputed Era for New Day for 13 shows in a town near you.
You're talking about matches. Oh, what if Charlotte had a match with whoever, with Serena or whoever? To me, I'm looking at it like, well, what's the storyline? Would they have their match? Tony Khan will have their match, and then what? Serena, for everything that she's done in AEW, how much more could you do with her? She has no storyline. She's a good wrestler.
Yeah.
What is that? What interest does that bring?
Go around Flair being NWA champion, and now Charlotte's captured it to do the whole fucking gimmick.
Sure, but I mean, it might not pay her. She's going to work for Billy Corgan for $500 a night. I mean, there's a whole bunch of different factors. I'm looking at it from, I guess I'm on my corporate mode. I'm looking at more from how much would it take to take her off the books, and have we gotten everything we can out of her? Have we gotten everything and her being on the show isn't making our cheap talent look like cheap talent. So do we get rid of her to make the girls look better? These are goofs talking about this stuff, by the way. We're talking about making their product, which is take the worst talent, make them look better by getting rid of the really good talent.
The good talent. Asuka and Charlotte gone.
It's fucked up, isn't it?
It is fucked up, but people have no clue outside the bubble that these are what really goes on. This is the Vince and Bruce car ride. This is after Mark Henry has a good conversation, leaves the room, then Khan, Deuce, and fucking Ace come in, and then they have their little click of what's really going to happen.
I want you to remember this too. I think you said before that Khan is on an incentive type position, an incentive type contract, not unlike maybe what Bill Watts had back in WCW. If he can cut the payroll and get the profit loss sheet at a good spot, how much does Khan get kicked back?
Yeah, let's say even wait to the sale of the company for $6 billion. Even if he gets, what do we say, 1%, that's 16 million.
Well, he could also get a percentage of whatever the net off of that sale. In other words, if they got to pay off all the liabilities, if they got these contracts, and it's between, you get rid of all these salaries and then you drop and all these people and all this infrastructure, and you go from $1 billion overhead to 600 million, and Khan gets a piece of that 400 difference too. Mm-hmm. That's what we're looking at. Clearing the books off to make this a really profitable company to be bought and everybody else to get bonused out. And of course, when you fire people, what happens to the stock price?
Up. Opposite of fucking Thunderdome boost.
Yeah.
I haven't seen anything on Plexiglass Sleeper being let go yet, so that's good.
He's the real hero in all this.
He slept through it all. He woke up. What the fuck? Looks like Britt Baker will defend her title against Impact Knockouts Deonna Purrazzo. That'll be interesting. That'll be one of the first things they've done.
I wonder who's going to go over there.
I wonder.
Impact is just getting buried, dude.
Yeah, dude. They miss huge on the pay-per-view, not having Swan come in as the Joker in the fucking Battle Royal to win it, to re-challenge. They just miss, bro. It kills me to sit over here and just like, okay, can't get the email. I've been radio silent for 2 months. Okay. Aleister Black thanks Paul Heyman for always having my back, except for this week, apparently. Released WWE superstar Aleister Black sent out a special shout out to Paul Heyman Wednesday night. He says, before I forget, a special mention goes to Heyman Hustle for always having my back, and to this day acts like a mentor to me. Since day one, Paul was in my corner. Obviously this guy's a great creative and has tons of charisma, this dark side stuff that we've come close to. Aleister Crowley, and then went away from it. We were knocking on people's doors that nobody ever answered to pick a fight. We never picked one fight. We came back with unbelievable animations. But is this because he went to Hobby Lobby and did YouTube with his cats and killed all that business? Why he's gone. Aleister Black says the last 2 years were, quote, a slow death in WWE. Hours after being released from WWE.
Thank you for that, right?
For the slow took to his wife Taya Trinidad's Twitch stream to discuss what happened. At least for the time being, Black came across as upbeat. He says, I'm not sad. I'm not depressed. I'm okay. I'm sure there's going to be dark days coming up. There's going to be bad days. It's all kind of up and down. And I think we should have a nice conversation. I'm getting texts like crazy. There's a crazy hype train going on. Black revealed that he was the reason he was given his release by the company. It was an answer that was similar to the one Alexander Wolf was given when he was told that his WWE contract wouldn't be extended recently. Whatever the reason, Black is thankful for his time with WWE. I got told it was budget cuts. Whether this is budget cuts or not doesn't matter. I'm here now. I've had a great time. I've had a phenomenal 4 or 5 years in WWE. If I didn't, we wouldn't have had so many views right now. We wouldn't have had so many viewers right now. And I'm really just thankful. They must be talking about Twitch because they can't be talking about the show. And I'm really just thankful for a lot of things that WWE has done for me. The most thankful I am is that I was given a platform that, although in a limited amount, I was able to give you guys parts of myself and my character. One part that's difficult for Black is the struggle to get himself onto TV, calling the last 2 years a slow death for him. He described his interaction with the WWE creative team as them finding him intriguing, while Black described himself as wanting to be like metal bands kids listening to while rebelling.
Well, those aren't the writers. I'm a metal band. I don't know what a metal band is.
Oh, God, dude.
Fucking dorks.
Oh, yeah.
That's a dork calling you dorks.
He just goes and expounds upon that. So, and then finally, Aleister Black reveals why Vince McMahon, nixed his U.S. title run. Following his release, Black went on the Twitch, like I said. He said, there was a moment I was supposed to win, I think, the U.S. title, but then Vince's consensus was, I don't want to have him win his first title in front of no audience. Black revealed. So there was always good stuff. There was a lot of good stories, a lot of almost happened moments. So I can't be negative. Black had stated that during the stream, he's not bitter and had a good relationship with Vince McMahon. He recalled the time he went off in a scripted promo at Money in the Bank. He said, well, fuck it, I'm going to do what I want to do. If they get mad at me, they get mad at me. And that promo got praised. They never went back to it. So, no, I don't remember that promo at Money in the Bank. This is where they picked things out of the bubble, where in their mind it was the most important thing ever. And it's so gone. And I feel good, but there's bad days ahead of with my depression. No, get the fuck going now. Now. You're a Muay Thai expert.
I saw that, everybody. I saw that audio clip. Now.
You're a Muay Thai expert. Start your YouTube training channel today. Stop going to Hobby Lobby with your cats, or start going to Hobby Lobby with your cats and do art on your channel and sell your artwork. Become a fucking great artist and show all that kind of shit that you're into. People want to buy that stuff. Don't sit around for the next 30 days collecting your fucking money out only to go to there to get a Tony Khan deal to go fight Pac so you can do lift him by the chin with your fucking foot and reverse snap kick. None of that is going to get you to the fucking level of creative satisfaction that owning your own shit, being an influencer, connecting directly with your fans on a one-to-one basis that you have the opportunity to do. There should be no depression days ahead. There should only be grind, more creative, give myself opportunity while I'm still fucking hot. Get on the cover of Tattoo magazine. Do all this shit that is get with a fucking rock band that you want, that you act like your shit is metal. How do you fucking hook up with them? Can you do a metal show where it's music reviews and things along those lines? But they won't. They'll sit there and wait on them thinking that they're over, going on Twitch, doing these little thank yous.
Why go on Twitch to it now? Why not have the mystique of what you're going to do? That's a very weird thing, isn't it?
It's so Stockholm, bro. It's just unbelievable, especially from a guy who's dark and could have gotten over with a dark message right here. Instead, we're going to get People magazine. My wife's pregnant. Look at the tattooed dad. All that shit. Instead of fucking tapping into the real artistry and using the platforms you have at your disposal.
But I do want to thank the A to Z YouTube channel for introducing me to BattleBox, because now since that I got that subscription and doing that. You know what's funny is, like, this is the thing that as businessmen we need to be the most transparent with ourselves and the most critical. You know, there's things in your wrestling career, and this is something I wish I could gauge in the moment. It's tough. I don't say it's not easy to look at something that you put all your heart and soul into and work the entire day to try to figure it out. And you put that promo up on Money in the Bank, and in your heart and in your mind, it's like you just put it all out there.
Yeah.
But in the frame of where you're at on the card and where you're looked at from the promotion of the brand, it's barely mid card. That's what you have to tell yourself. And even if you are a main eventer, you have to almost look at yourself like you're not in there so you can keep evolving and getting better with that. It's a hard thing to do because it's easy to get content. And it's also easy to have a defense mechanism where you know you're getting buried and they don't think anything of you, and it's frustrating, and they say you're intriguing. You're looking at them like, dude, you never been in the fight. You never even fucked a girl. Like, what do you know about anything? Right. But you have to play along like they know more than you about you. That's the messed up part. You're talking to them, trying to convince you that you are who you are. And they go, no, this is who you are. Like, that's incredibly frustrating. So this defense mechanism of when you do something really good and you're kind of allowed to do maybe 30% of what you really can say and do.
Sure.
You blow that up into 100%. And it becomes more than it really is. I have no doubt that
creative that he's got now. They did such a good job putting money into him with these new story things. That's not hard. I mean, aside from the animations, the actual character still has teeth going forward if he was to play off of that. But they don't. I mean, even look at the introduction to characters. Firefly Funhouse. What do we have? Illuminati, reptilians, high level fucking conspiracy talk in there. Aleister Black, what do we have? Aleister Crowley, fucking Illuminati sacrifice.
The Twitch thing. He said, "Oh, everybody thinks I'm really in the Illuminati. I'm not." Like, he just killed it.
Killed it, bro. And like, instead of playing into it, because once the WWE dorks who don't get this shit get their hands on it, it gets watered down to, I'm going backstage to pick a fight and knock on doors. Okay. All right. You had the whole Crowleyism right there, and there's 5 years of fucking meat on the plate with that, and you don't even come close to understanding it, studying it, developing around the guy. My point is, both of those guys brought that naturally, and those were their ideas out of the gate, and then they get watered down to fucking Mr. Rogers neighborhood level dog shit, bro.
Yeah. He even put over the fact that he teamed with Ricochet, which was like the biggest mistake to introduce Aleister Black to WWE TV. That was already
terrible, dude, when they brought them in together.
Yeah, and personally, he's probably friends with Ricochet, and that's where that's where
it's all cool kids,
dude. If we were doing something and it didn't line up with business wise on TV, even though we're super tight, we would both say he's a terrorist, and I'm just the dude. How can we, unless you plan on doing some really cringy comedy, I don't see how this is going to work.
Coming soon to Fox this fall.
Hey, what are you doing? Why are we going? Why we have a private plane? What are we renting this Cessna for?
Shut up, moron. we only need to take off. Yeah, the terrorist and the dude coming to Fox this fall.
What are we celebrating in September? Why are we going to New York?
Right? It's 20-year anniversary. Oh shit, man. Backstage news on Aleister Black's recent feud with Big E. Reason for Black's WWE release. Whatever.
Let me back up for a second. We're getting to this. Whoever did this animation was super, super work intensive, much like Mandir stuff with our anime to another level.
How funny was that this week?
Oh, that was amazing. I can't wait for the next one. We were going to do a special report Master Street Theater with Ben's firing people, so we're going to figure that out.
Yeah, he stomped on that. I thought he'd be like, "Yeah, come on." He's like, "No, I'm going to do it on Vic Fenn." I was like, "Oh, okay."
How discouraging? Well, he didn't. At least he answered you. How discouraging is it for these people that put all the work into the animation to make this character again? How discouraging is the people that produced it and took time, or maybe worked overtime or a weekend
hundreds of hours
to do this? So you see what I mean, though? The morale gets dropped, not just with the talent, but the people trying to get the talent over. And then Big E. What's Big E got to think? Like, this guy just laid me out and I didn't even get a win. He didn't even put me over on the way out. What do you think of me? So it's a ripple effect around the whole company, both on and off camera, of what these cuts are doing.
It was noted that Black versus Big E had no long-term end game. Black went live on his the Twitch, but yeah, that's what it says here, that they had no idea where they were going. The hundreds of hours in that animation, that After Effects stuff looked so great. And maybe the people who came up with that were in the original 35 that got released. They got that done, fine, boom, boom, boom. And who gives a shit? We'll just let it die on the vine. You know, we filled time with it. We use the budget we had, and that's that. They don't care about their show or storylines at all. They ripped up the script last week when it was a 1.62. This week supposedly had a script where they went over 8 minutes over in the opening segment, which I didn't feel that. I didn't feel anybody in that opening segment was going into business for themselves, taking up extra time, and that Vince was hot that they had to cut from other things. I'm like, cut from other things? You had a 34-minute main event. You had a fucking another super long match.
You had 90 minutes of packages.
9 minutes. Cedric eye poke was the only thing that I could think that they cut from, bro. So there's a lot.
He's willing to do. He's like, I was really going to do something with those guys this week, and don't think he uses that to get the hopes up and dangle the carrot. Hey, I would have. And then look at what he's causing. You know, some writer or agent goes to Cedric and Shelton and goes, "Yeah, we got to cut your time because the girls went over 8 minutes in the opening segment." Oh, now you're. What are you doing there? Mm-hmm. On purpose.
Mm-hmm. This is an interesting one, and it might yield some heat. King Corbin on a fan opinion that WWE should have fired him instead. So he sells for a fan opinion. He noticed a tweet and called for a fan wishing to see someone lose their job. He says, I'll never understand this. What's wrong with you wanting someone else to be fired? Nobody should ever want someone to lose their job or their livelihood. Bro, just top guy, like not that he's a top guy, but a star selling for a fan thing.
What about being a heel?
Yeah, instead of healing on the fucking guy and being like, you can't fire the king. I'm at the top of the monarchy and I say who goes, and using like your character to say fuck you. Instead, everybody's getting fired possibly for doing social media infractions and some get back, and he doesn't even see that that's possibly the case and does the exact same thing instead of doubling down when they just started new business with him, Shinsuke, and Boogs to fucking get it over, where he's House Lannister fighting over a fucking crown, which is the stupidest shit there is, but selling for marks on Twitter, bro.
He could have actually went in and been a real heel and talked about he still had a job. And then if he did get fired, he's a heel anyway. So who cares?
Yeah.
I don't know. Or just like you said, just don't say or do anything. Don't even open up Twitter. That's
You'll like this one. This one will get you going. As noted, 6 superstars released today. Strowman, Black, Lana, Buddy Murphy, Ruby Riott, and Santana Garrett. A bunch of WWE staff and stars have taken to Twitter. WWE producer and official Adam Pearce simply tweeted 6 broken heart emojis as the reaction to his departure.
Who did?
Adam Pearce. 6 broken heart emojis, reaction to the departures. Former on-air talent Renee Young, Renee Paquette commented, what a horrible mismanagement of some really talented people, sucks, Renee wrote. Seth Rollins responded with, on his appearance to the My Love Letter to Wrestling podcast with NXT superstar Mark Andrews, and he says, and today it makes me feel broken heart times 3 emojis. Sasha Banks made 2 tweets to Ruby Riott, sending love her way. Blue heart emoji, glowing star emoji times 3, hashtag Heidi Lovelace. Banks wrote in the first tweet using Riott's pre-ring name, we love you at Ruby Riott.
So now you know she's telling the truth because she used her other ring name.
That's it. Hall of Famer Mick Foley reacted to Riott's departure, writing, for Ruby Riott, the best is yet to come. I firmly believe that. Foley then commented on the shock of Strowman's release, and he said it could be one big signing for AEW. Alexa Bliss commented on the release of her former Mixed Challenge tag partner Strowman with broken heart emoji. Terrible. Former star Billie Kay and Jessica McKay was released back in April. She commented on Riott's departure. I became very close with Ruby Riott over the past year, and I'm so grateful to call her a friend. She has the biggest heart and is an absolute star. Love you. Cash Wheeler said, Key, you're all going to do great. Keep your heads up. Tama Tonga says, damn, thankful New Japan for not dumping us during the pandemic or even after. Gaijin grateful. So that was one of the only real pieces of business that got done. And Naomi to Lana, I'm always your friend, bestie, sis, no matter what, at Lana WWE, hashtag ravishing glow crotch. Matt Cardona, Zack Ryder says, every one of these people will be fine. Work hard, be you, be successful, be your own boss. Boom, have fun. I agree. And Evil Uno says, Evil Uno's not happy about anyone losing their job. You shouldn't be either. Dude, just virtue signaling and not knowing that even that little bit could fucking cut your throat of putting shit over. You know, and that was one thing I was going to ask you about, whether it's, I mean, a lot of people like Ruby Riott, super easy chick to get along with, OVW sister, Heidi Lovelace. But that can bring the heat down on you. But how about how she was bumping on the last show? Remember how we talked how she was like really selling hard and shit? Do they know the writing's on the wall and they're like, they're watching me, and if I put out that little bit of extra effort, or I smash a little bit harder, then fucking it's going. And I've heard that Carrillo might be gone, that Bray might be gone too. And could that, what Carrillo did to Sheamus with the fucking forearm blast,
be the reason?
That's it right there. You know what I mean?
Yeah, this is a weird athletic type thing. This doesn't even just, be the model for It's football, baseball, basketball. But the problem is with those, when you're really trying to score a touchdown, catch a ball, throw a block, make a tackle, stay, hit a home run, it's performance based. With wrestling, it's not showing that you can cut it's a weird thing with wrestlers. Like, I'm going to bump really hard and do something to almost hurt myself to prove that I want to be here, which obviously the reaction from Vince and Bruce and those guys is, yeah, got it. And the Lana thing might have been like, with the tables, you figured they would let her go then, but it could have been the Russo double swerve of, we'll get her really comfortable. Then when she gets really good, we're going to cut her. Like when she feels like she's past all of this and breathes a sigh of relief, which she kind of was in that spot. Well, if they weren't going to get rid of her before, like, why would they get rid of her now?
Right.
That's exactly why.
That's why. And we're up today, 81 strong, I think, for a record here on the Friday Locker Room live at Ben Hamin YouTube channel, demonetized. You can also go to twitch.tv/Hamin Media. Subscribe there, as I'll be doing the SmackDown Live self-help group, AEW anti-suicide hotline show tomorrow, 4 hours from 8 to midnight.
Should be an Adderall substance abuse hotline.
I think so.
How's that? Hey, by the way, good scene. Thanks for tweeting it, Urban.
Thanks for
tweeting it, Coach. That was great. What I was going to say was what's interesting too, and this is where you go down a rabbit hole. Wouldn't you think that they would release both Ruby Riott and Liv Morgan at the same time, since they're a team?
Was the other weird thing. Was I thought I was having a stroke?
No, we saw that. I saw it too when you told me about it. It's still there.
Review, and Liv Morgan posting with what looked like the baby bump, you know what I mean? Yay for me. And then the next night she's on fucking SmackDown working in new gear. So I'm like, what the fuck is going on?
Well, it got, like I said, just because everything they do is horrible. Like Vince says, at least gets people talking around the water cooler. Like, what the fuck was that last night? Like, but here's the thing. They're very tight. They all got tattoos of the Riot Squad and all that stuff. That's debatable. That was like 4 weeks in or something, right? But let one of them go, and then it's like splitting the couples up, or hiring Zelina Vega, firing Aleister Black. Like, now one person's going to be happy when they talk, and the other person's going to be sad. There's really, truly no unified front when you talk about these personal lives with these people. That's all by design. We want you to be happy, but not too happy, and we'll make sure we introduce a little bit of misery into your life one way or the other. It's you called it with Vince. He's a sociopath, right? Or a psychopath, or both.
Both, the combination of both, with advanced narcissistic personality disorder. I love it.
I'm perfect. God damn it.
Yeah, look at this.
Blue heart emoji.
Yeah.
Green. I'm Irish. Give me a
Quad Max. Another departure. Tom Phillips seemingly confirmed his WWE departure as well. He says he's excited for his future. But dude, there's an announced guy, and you just hired Big Show and Mark Henry to do announcing. They beat him to the punch, eh?
Well, here, do you think that's a segue, or do you have more headlines? The segue of all these people. And now, where's this leave the people that had how long? A couple of years with AEW now? Not counting the TV deal was October. Well, AEW's been around for a couple of years.
Well, yeah, in October it'll be 2 years with that, but before that, like 2.5.
The start of the company is a little more than 2 years old at this point.
But how about oh, sorry, I lost my train of thought.
What I was saying was, what are these people that really aren't getting over, or the lower level indie guys that are on AEW with contracts? Are we going to see the cuts?
Right. Well, we saw two the other day, Shanna and somebody else. They just didn't renew their contract as they're up on a 1-year deal. Dude, that whole Jericho Judas in My Mind sing-along section, gone.
Well, now that people are back.
Gone.
Yeah.
Well, they were still using them on the show, though, to do it. But Leva Bates and fucking the librarians and guys who are already NXT guys that they had. Cesar Bononi, who looks good, but has a long way to go to get it in ring still. And character wise, like they're just, a Janela, a Sunny Kiss, a Nyla Rose, people they're not even using while they're expanding their TV and all that. We're not using ex-WWE guys. Yeah. Okay, you won't. Because you're not even using your own. You're not even using Big Swole and them. Like they're at ringside. Judas in my mind. Like that's the fucking.
That gets you, doesn't it?
Well, yeah,
that
dude.
One thing.
It's jumped the shark, and now you have indie workers who looked like fans that crossed over already, and now you're just using them overacting to sing along. Even Jericho, you can see in the ring, looks over at him and was like, "You fucking marks," even though they're helping his shit, dude. Like that was a bad use. They jumped the shark on it.
Where do you think that's going to leave them? Now they have 3 shows, by the way, so they need to draw some ratings. So these people might be thinking, "Oh, this is my job safe because I have 3 shows." But you also have at least a dozen people that are released that can fill those shows in with instant star power, that maybe the 1.42 can come over and watch them if presented properly. And you also have just laying around other new talents. You got Papadons and you have other people and you and other people that are just on the indies that they can try to find and pay at a lower rate than the stars they're bringing over. No offense against anybody. I'm just talking about, it's
flooding
the
tree
of wrestling needs to be refreshed once in a while. You like that one?
And what does that look like? WWE sells to NBC. NBC eliminates all the toxic assets and trims the fat, has the library, will keep it rebooted a little bit of what it was. Impact probably going to go bankrupt sooner or later. AEW goes from 1.3, now we're down to 525,000 after having to switch from NBA and being demoted to the second tier channel. There's never been a better time for the business. Will MLW rise up as an actual competitor? Will a new company like a 2CW with an investment where guys are only making 250 or whatever, like maybe they should be NWA wise, and getting that opportunity? Are we going to have another 10-year build of a company that will actually reboot wrestling? Because the McMahons are pretty much done at this point. Like the next 4 years is going to be nothing but downtime to a rise of the indies taking over regional until we find another money mark who actually will invest and hopefully is competent enough to run the company or put it in the hands of somebody who can run the company the right way, dude. It's going to be a crazy fucking 4 years, not just presidential wise, but our business wise.
What do you think? This is the part that I go back to all this and wrestling in general and the way we live as businessmen. What have these people done to prepare? Quite frankly, I'm getting to a point where, thank God, after being released in WWE in 2008, I'm finally starting to make money that's on par with that. And that's every day the struggle. I'm just saying on par because from 2008 until 2 years ago, I was essentially running at a loss every year because I was dipping into my bank account. I was selling stuff. I was doing a bunch and I played everything the right way. And from day one, I was off and running since August of 2008, trying to build my YouTube channel, trying to build my tech brand, trying to build it as an influencer, trying to get a job in technology or something away from that. And then trying to get a job in fitness and doing things. I was trying all this stuff from August 16th to today. And it's still, same with you and other people and Russo. We're still trying to push to the point where we don't even know where we're going, but we're trying to push forward.
Right.
That's why you said now, because it has to be now.
Yeah.
So my question is that
high-level clients emailing me going, we had a drop-off in Patreon. Well, we're fishing in the HMG and Russo brand loyalists, and we love that you guys are subscribed to the A Show, to Stevie Ray TV and whatnot, but we need to figure out how to now break out of that into bigger markets of, instead of just our 4,000 qualified buyers, how now, brown cow, do I get that marketing done? Like, what is the solution? And that's a big round of meetings that we're going to have this week with HMG staff to try and come up with new ideas to keep our high level clients happy. Dude, 91 strong here in the chat room. Record breaking day, unfortunately, on the backs of some bad news, but it's because of bad business and it's because of bad use of social media. A lot of these people, and nobody's saying that yet, except for here on the locker room and in Russo brand, that a lot of these aren't just budget cuts, bro. These are, we've been waiting in the shadows to hit you, and now you just got hit.
They just did bad business too, because they didn't get everything out of these guys to put other talent over. So everybody did bad business all around. And that's what I mean. When they leave, they don't have, do they have this thing where, remember who was it? There was an NXT talent that got released. Didn't know what Polaroids were during intermission, didn't know about the merch table, and asked for like $2,500 because whatever contract they were under was basically around $2,000 a week. So they thought they were going to make, they didn't know the indies don't pay usually. I mean, there's people we know too that were asking for $2,500 in first class flights to Ring of Honor.
Yeah.
There's just no perspective on what this, and they almost priced themselves out of getting back on the road and working and trying to recreate themselves. Guys like Drew, he wasn't getting 2,000 a night. I'm sure Drew in Evolve and all those other places, maybe 500, 750 at the most, and just grinding it out, trying to make a name for himself. So when he does go back, they'll still fuck him over and make him look like shit, but he'll make some money and he'll get pushed.
I mean, yeah, with a guy like Drew, I mean, they're going to wait all the way.
They're not even doing good by him. They're not doing good by Lashley. They're not doing good by anybody. So when I see that, I'd be like, man, I really need to prepare. But I don't think anybody here is doing anything except waiting for Tony Khan to give them the call. Or if you're waiting for Impact to give you the call, you also might be waiting for your pay, as you know better than anybody.
Yeah, you might be way better to lawyer up now, is what I'm saying. The rest of these I just have up are more of the same of the releases of everybody saying thank you, and that Braun had a monster deal, and that Miro reacts to Lana's release. Lana issues a statement on her release saying, I'll never forget the fans and the love they showed me, whether it was the tank, the power suits, the flags, the Rusev Crush, 900 partners, weddings, or tables. I always try to entertain you, and you definitely elevated me. Thank you. You know, there's a girl who's made her own bed in doing the dumb shit on social media and TikTok, but she did everything they asked her to. Put her through tables, like rub fucking dark makeup on your face in a fake fucking wedding scene and all this type of shit, all these ribs on camera. Think of the millions of dollars they wasted on ribbing Lana on camera, bro, of USA's investment, Fox's investment. Unbelievable, dude. Like that's who we're dealing with. Alexander Wolf says WWE management dodged him ahead of release. Like they see him coming and fucking head the other way. They just let his contract run out, dude. Otherwise he'd have the no compete clause. So they're not even worried about him showing up on an MLW or an AEW. That's how little faith they had in guys that they built, that they don't even care about locking him down for 90 days, dude. But Buddy Murphy also taking to Twitter with the big thank you. Crazy ride, highs and lows, whether it was 3 minutes or 20 minutes. I put all my effort in my performances, and just a thread tweet thing where you got to, keep going. I think the best money spent, it will be on Buddy Murphy, Lana, and Ruby Riott. Maybe Santana Garrett, but because you can get them all at a low price because they're going to be looking to jump to AEW. And like a Buddy Murphy versus a Pac is a good match, like to pay for. And for that audience, Lana's going to be with Miro. He's going to politic. There's no doubt about it. And Heidi Lovelace will fit right into your women's division and be able to protect a lot of girls who are still green and hopefully bring them up to a little bit better level, and she can shine how she should too. But if they sign Braun, if they sign all these guys for big money, then it's straight up TNA. Here comes Hogan. Here comes. I'm not trying to compare them to that, but it's the lecherous money sucking. I wouldn't even sign Aleister Black, to be honest with you. Like, it's going to be too much money. You don't have the fucking feud, and that looks like a Mark signing of just.
Well, he's not from. He might. I mean, I get he get married to Lena Vega, so he should be able to stay in the country. But there's some people that aren't. I mean, what happens?
Yeah. What
There's
does
a whole bunch to really think about.
Alexander Wolf was like, I'm excited to be able to go back and travel to Europe and da 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 da. Well, until
we got some news for you. You may not be going anywhere. Enjoy the lockdown.
If they turn around and sign the top name draws that got released, that's going to be so telltale of like, all right, all you indie workers that we did Friends for, see ya. You got a paycheck for a year, and now your rates are upped on the indies because you have AEW tied to your name. But that's probably what is coming our way.
I think the bigger play for anybody is to not get into this meat grinder. Like you just talked about was you're all going to get knocked down a peg. You're all going to have to fight for smaller spots. You're all going to have to, maybe because of the rental cars and the hotels and everything else being more expensive, your rental car may be your hotel. You might have to sleep in it. And that's fine for us because we grew up like that.
We're going to be battling with them, not we, but I, because my indie rate after 15 years is nothing near what they'll make, but they'll come in and be a draw on a show, get $3,000 because you were Aleister Black, and the rest of us might not get booked because the budget isn't there now because of these WWE guys who can come and live off of whatever little hype that they have left. Dude.
Oh, they don't have to compete with me. I'll be right here.
Oh, you're the one who said you were thinking about getting back in the ring. Your back
feels pretty good. My back doesn't feel like working a Buddy Murphy match. So I'm not going to see that or taking those knees. Here's another little conspiracy theory. We haven't thrown this out here, but I did kind of think about it earlier. Could any of these vaccinations? Oh, but shit! I just gave it away. I'm CT and Alexia. It's like because any of these releases have to do with vaccinations.
I think you would see AJ and Omos on that chopping block, and I think you might see them. I'm surprised they weren't. And AJ would be a guy that would be a good AEW get. You know what I mean? There's
exactly why there might be a double standard,
right? Where they won't let him go.
Because Lawler put out a tweet saying that everybody has to be vaccinated by the pay-per-view in June. He put that out on by the way, rest in peace, Jerry Lawler. Some secrets will go to the grave.
Yeah. Well, maybe. But by June, they had to have everybody vaccinated. That by the end of June, is that what you're saying before they go on the road?
No, before the June pay-per-view. That was a Lawler tweet saying, or Instagram saying that he's getting his vaccination. And he goes, everybody's got to have their vaccinations by the June pay-per-view, which is this month.
Yeah, I don't know. I imagine everyone who gets on and does the stuff.
You get it and you get the side effects and you get fired anyway. Like, what the fuck, dude?
Sue. I mean, that's lawsuit 101, but then you'll lose against the fucking army of lawyers that they have as well. So, and in the lawsuits or in the vaccine, they can't be held accountable either way. But I'm sure that has happened. I'm sure there are people on the roster who are Stockholm syndrome, thanking them when they get released who did get vaxxed to try and keep their job. And there's those that didn't, who are also like, how dare they?
Somebody said, Adam Page said, if you're not vaccinated, don't come to AEW.
Okay. You get a deal.
I got some CDC stats to send Adam Page then about how much more less likely you are to get something when you're vaccinated. It is basically the highest. I think it reduces it by 1.2%. And I'll send him a Fauci emails while I'm at it, so you can check all that out.
I'm no Adam Page. I don't do moonsaults to the outside, but I do like to think I have a little something between my fucking ears. in what I can do as a man, not to be like, don't even come here if you're not vaccinated, and talk to Nick Jackson.
This is the SAW anti-bully group, isn't it? Don't come here. God damn it, we'll make you get it.
Shout out, man. Good stuff, man, all the way around.
How about this? When you come to listen or watch us, do whatever the fuck you want. Take it or don't take it. We don't care. That's kind of how the country used to work. Do whatever you want.
But he's a cowboy, a rebel, and he'll never ever be any good. And neither will the headlines for pro wrestling, you guys. But that wraps it up in an insane week of high level releases. I mean, there's always going to be they went up and they came back down to NXT, and it's time to let them go. But there's a couple here that seem like far bigger targeted shots for their own edification of sadistic enjoyment, and also to clean the books, to get things streamlined for a much bigger picture, which is the sale of WWE. And it's not, I don't think, speculation really at this point. It's just who's going to step up to be the buyer. If it's NBC, the business model wise is taking over increases your portfolio value, and that will up their stock price. And then when it's time to streamline toxic assets, they'll lump them in with whoever else and sell that off to the highest bidder, which will probably be Disney, which will then be a reboot in 2028 of the road shows of wrestling in a new way, plus Disney Park, where you can see Steamboat versus Macho Man at 11, 1, 3, and 4:30 with different actors playing Macho Man all the time and whatnot. And that's what wrestling will look like in 2028 with them. I just know the way corporate takeovers happen, and then what they do to increase their stock price and then trim the fat to resell to more and more profit and consolidation. I've seen it in the media world, and I see the exact same thing happen in this way right now with every move they make. And Nick Khan being on the board is a thumbs up vote when it comes time for that to happen, dude. And he could be the deciding factor, even though it's all for the perspective of the public. They already know what the fuck is going down, man. It'll be an interesting 4 years, Stevie. Thanks, Obama.
Do you think it's going to be 2028?
Yeah, in the time that'll take this to get done, maybe 2026. Because
I'm just playing with my lower thirds all the time.
All right, it's just I think I think that by the end of 2022, 2023, the WWE to NBC deal will be done and announced, in the transition of everything and on their way out. NBC will try and run it as a studio show, possibly, and with whatever. I don't know. I can't imagine how that's going to work if Triple H is still involved in running the WWE brand, working with NBC, which, you know, who knows who they'll hire to try and fucking be the liaisons there. I can imagine Bischoff will have his name in the hat, that Hamin will, that Deuce will, you know what I mean, to try and fucking work with them to keep it going. And then from there, once they see that it's only at a 2.0, the reason for them to do that is to take all the WWE content to get people to subscribe to the cock. And once they hit their fucking number there, then they'll strip and sell it out to Disney at a higher price, who also wants to increase their portfolio in the same move. So that's, I mean, it's the Star Wars 101, right? Pretty much same thing.
Pretty much. But at the same time, like, you're looking at everybody's just going to be grifting their money and doing whatever they can. And there's going to be a shitty WWE Avengers movie or something, or they're going to think it's the Avengers, but it's like Summer Camp, that cartoon. It's going to be like that. I think entertainment has, in general, not just wrestling, because everything obviously with, you know, what happened with going woke, going broke type shit too. I think that a lot of stuff that's happened has let even the Nancy Browns believe that entertainment. There you go. We need to go to Discovery. That's exactly.
Which time?
I can't wait for Alien Gold to be found on the WWE Network.
You talking about the third time we go to Discovery and get shot down?
The fourth. We're on 5, I think.
The other one wasn't Discovery. The first two were Discovery.
Science Channel or something, or National. What was it? Science Channel.
Yeah.
But here's the thing: entertainment has jumped the shark because no one's allowed to even take a chance and offer anything new.
Yeah,
we're literally watching anything that doesn't, even if one person, what did we see with that one person? Like, I think WWE could get taken off the USA Network if the right person with 12 followers and the purple egg tweets that they're offended. They make that everything else has been done. But what if that one person with no followers and no avatar says, this completely offends me and I'm never watching USA again? It's happened to bigger companies,
Yeah.
hasn't it?
Yeah. Will
And the
it come
Church of Satan could tweet them too. That worked for me. I lost bookings over that.
Yeah, man. It's going to be an insane year, I think, with Khan being either exposed fully as the Dixie Carter can be worked by everybody and just kick the money out until daddy says no more, bro. Will we ever get an investor who actually has a mind for business, who will put in the right people, who know how to get things over, who the numbers back up, and not hire these same sycophantic suckholes who are just there for a paycheck, who don't give a fuck about furthering the business or long-term business or making this industry what it should be. It's just going to be next millionaire Mark, pick his pockets until we kill our own business. And then we'll wait for the pattern to repeat itself again until it's lower and lowered and lowered and lowered every single time, man.
Well, he ain't wrong. It's going to be a very, I don't even know how we close the show because it's not over yet. I think NXT UK's, that whole territory might get clipped. Like you said, NXT may go away unless the USA deal means that they need NXT TV.
Aside from Walter, NXT UK, name me two other NXT UK people.
The Queen and the Prince. I don't know.
That's my point exactly. Like, right? Like how you're going to keep NXT UK over because Walter doesn't want to come over to USA, bro. You're talking about Streamline, gone. You know, the NXT Japan dojo and China dojo, gone.
You're talking about $25 to $35 million loss every year.
Absolutely.
I'm sure USA is not paying them $35 million a year for NXT to break even. So, all right.
Nobody would remember, says Tony Storm. I'm talking right now. Who's in NXT UK? That's a draw that the people even in wrestling really know about, man. There isn't, is my point. And that's because of how watered down everything is, diversified overload of wrestling and all that shit, dude. Pete Dunne is in America fucking NXT. He's not in UK NXT. Everybody wants to be smart, but they don't want to take that fucking real spoonful of truth. They only want to take the shit sandwich, bro. And that's what's brought us here, unfortunately. And I guess we'll just be dorks while people go play with their $500,000 cars, and in 3 months they'll think, oh, you know what? I should probably get serious about this shit again. Instead of anybody having a business plan, hitting the ground running, seeing what the model is, reaching out. They're over. We're not, if you didn't know. So yeah, dude, it is a strange show to wrap it up. Nothing that we want to take, pride in. There's a big one. Yeah, look at that one, pal. I'd sign that one.
Big son of a bitch. Look at
you. Camera adds 10 pounds. Oh man. But he's got the two-eyed kitty, and that dude, we were 96 strong here this morning. Ben Hamin YouTube channel. Obviously, everybody wants the inside scoop on what's going on. Nobody's reached out to us, but it's going to be an interesting time on the indies this summer with seeing who shows up right around September. I'm sure
she usually runs, but she sees a big TV, so she likes watching.
She didn't do it. Awesome, man. Well, that makes me feel good at the end of the day.
She's a little psycho. Hey, I want to talk about that. But speaking of which, like I said, I was trying to do. Oh, you like the microphone? I was doing all these affiliate things that I'm reaching out for, and the one that answered me was pretty unique because this is how it's kind of cool. Like back in the days of ECW, we really didn't know we were doing anything that would be remembered. But lately, everybody I run across, especially on the business side for the fitness and everything, remembers me from ECW, which is pretty cool. But 32 Degrees, which is pretty much the clothes by me, pretty much the clothes I've been wearing for years because it's affordable and it feels comfortable. It breathes well. I think I even wore it when we did the signing and the show that time years ago. So I have an affiliate with them. So we finally agreed on something. They may even put stuff up on the site with Stevie's picks and everything, but it's basically 32 Degrees Cool /Stevie. You go there, check it out. They have the cool gear like I'm wearing here, the heat gear, and we're also going to have other affiliates going up on the YouTube channel for different kinds of cardio and strength equipment. So we can keep
That's
everybody
my
safe.
problem. I've been wearing the heat gear all these years. I didn't know there was cool gear. I got all the heat.
Yeah, I mean, they don't have any Arab stuff, so it's heat gear. That's the real heat gear.
The Terrorist and the Dude coming this fall to NBC. The Cock. Can't wait, man. But congratulations on another great sponsorship, dude. 32 Degrees. Yeah, that'll be the fucking poster for us. Yeah, I mean, everybody should be reaching out to everybody on HMG for influencer stuff. There's plenty of niche markets we need to be looking into. And again, that's now, today. We need to be looking at plans of how to expand, as we always are, going into Realm Network and doing the back end video of that. I'm not sure if Russo sent you that as well. I can send that to you. I was going to watch that today to start getting more acclimated and start testing things out, hopefully this weekend. So
yeah, we're probably going to go to the Realm Network with the locker room, so that we'll let everybody know when that happens.
Yep. And speaking of locker rooms, big shout out to the Wednesday locker room. I gave them the heads up that we're going to be ending the Wednesday locker room. So this week was the second to last show. And the 11-11 boys are going to be around, but I'm tired of them being held back by wrestling. Their best stuff is when they're not talking about wrestling. So they're going to be there. Bello, Billy Ray Valentine, and Strangler Steve King. We're just getting a new project lined up for them where they don't have to review Raw. They're the voice of the HMG loyal listeners, and I'm excited to see what they're going to come up with next, because I trust all their vision and as hosts and whatever they want to do. So Wednesday locker room going to be going away too, but it won't be missing those guys. They're going to come up with something very, very, very cool. So, but we're going to have the fun time happy cat hour here to keep our spirits high. Stevie, anything else going down, man?
We're going to put up more reviews on the YouTube channel. We had to delete the envelope videos, and some views have gone up since then. So we got that going on, right, Mia? So other than that, I'm just probably going to feed and pet these cats all day and try to be the best cat daddy that I can. Other than that, forceusa.com/Stevie, also diamondbackfitness.com/Stevie. I might ask you or any of the producers to maybe help me out a little bit, because I'm trying to redesign the website, StevieRichardsFitness.com, and have it as more of a categorized thing where I know Mia, she likes that, where I put the reviews up there. I have a short kind of blueprint for reviews that'll be the short kind of like overview of my review that the 20-minute videos cover. You want to watch that, it's fine. But if you want a little snippet of like, this is the good, this is the bad, this is what I feel like it is, if you want to watch the full thing, the video, but also want to be like, hey, if you want the SRF programs, click here, and then it goes to the StevieRichardsFitness.com that you see now, where you can pick the workouts. But quite frankly, just like, I'll be honest with everybody, because we talk about honest business and pivoting and everything, the programs aren't really selling. The video workouts aren't really selling. And I'm trying to get the more demographics of people. I'm trying to get people who don't even know what I've been doing for years. That's fine. But at the same time, we have to, as a businessman, not look at the stuff that's our baby, which is my programs, but look at the stuff that's really driving business. And that's what the affiliate model's doing. And that's not me saying I'm ignoring the other, but it's just, you got to look at that stuff, right? You eat a lot of cat food. I need to feed you.
Yeah, absolutely. If we've hit a wall and become stagnant, and we're also getting feedback that they were unaware, how do we create awareness? What's that marketing strategy? How do we get to them? Do we get to Andrew the entertainer and have him cut together one of his incredible videos as a quick commercial piece? There's a lot of things that we will do absolutely to reignite the brand and hopefully break into new markets. But it was because of HMG and SRF and Russo brand loyalists who have been so great in subscribing to the Patreons, buying the products, the sponsorships, record quarter with the Russo Bro Coffee from the Broasters. We thank you guys. We're not trying to keep picking your pockets. We want to offer you great products that we develop and believe in, and that we partner with smaller businesses who want more exposure, so definitely we'll come up with some solutions that way, as we've got plenty of people on staff with great minds to start brainstorming, because I need to do it with Aaron Stevens and April Hunter, and get more eyes on the A show and more subscriptions. Stevie Ray TV, the beautiful people as well. And shout out to Velvet Sky, turning, I hate to say it, 40 today, but dude, she still looks like she's 21. Beautiful, beautiful, beautiful. So people, so wish Velvet Sky a happy birthday, you guys, if you can, at Velvel Holler. Rip's going to tape some stuff this week for patreon.com/Hamin Media Group, reviewing Serena's matches, which is always a good time that way. Even though I told him he was wrestling Riho, and he goes, fuck, she's fucking rotten. So it'll be interesting to see what's what. And I got some Larry Hankin stuff to do on Escape from Alcatraz Part 2 today. So we'll be right at it. There's no doubt about it. It'll lock to the computer here in the Udio with who you know, Big Stevie Richards, Hacker Hamin producing, and we're thankful to be doing it. And hopefully, if you're future endeavored out there, that you find your creative inspiration and develop what you want to as a passion project. And hey, if you want to reach out, we're here to help. We're a bunch of dorks, as we've been told. So record numbers here today, hitting 96. Ben Hamin YouTube channel demonetized, twitch.tv/Hamin Media. Go to Russo's brand. The new Master Shoot Theater is out with old Nessie. We had a good time this week, and Mandeer's animation, I'm sure, is on its way soon, infidels. But if it's up, then it's stuck, infidels. It's Hacker Hamin. It's Big Stevie Cool. It's the Ultra Kayfabe Declassified Thursday taping of the Friday Future Endeavored Locker Room, infidels. YOLO!